at the end of September of the 2023 season, how do the 10 Football Bowl subdivision conferences compare to each other? All 10 FBS conferences have played the majority of their out-of-conference games so far. This is the Gridiron-Connoisseur. I will present the results of my objective formula that will provide an unbiased ranking of all 10 conferences. The 10 Football Bowl subdivision conferences include the following: American Athletic, Atlantic Coast, Big 10, Big 12, Conference USA, Mid-American, Mountain West, Pacific 12, Southeastern, and Sun Belt. The criteria used to rank the 10 FBS conferences include the following criteria: wins and losses versus out-of-conference opponents. Wins on the road are worth more than wins at neutral sites or wins at home. Wins versus other FBS opponents are worth much more than wins over FCS opponents. Later in the season, wins versus other conferences champions will be calculated and given as bonus points. The Mid-American Conference ranks last among the 10 FBS conferences. The MAC has lost all 4 games versus the SEC and all 8 of its games against the Big 10. Additionally, one of its members lost to a football championship subdivision team. The American Athletic Conference looks weaker than it did last season after 3 of its upper echelon programs left. Those losses so far include 2 against the Pacific 12, 4 against the Big 10, and 6 against the SEC. Coming in at number 8 is Conference USA. Conference USA has lost all 10 of its matchups versus Power 5 conference opponents so far. Number 7 is the Mountain West Conference. The Mountain West Conference has scored 1 victory over an opponent from each of the Big 10, Big 12, and Southeastern conferences. Number 6 is the Sun Belt Conference. The Sun Belt has continued its ascent from the basement of the FBS just several years ago. The Big 12 ranks as number 5, the lowest among the Power 5 conferences. 6 members have each lost an outer conference game. 3 members have each lost 2 outer conference games. The ACC checks in at number 4. The ACC grabbed headlines with its winning record versus the SEC. However, those victories were offset by dropping both matchups versus the Big 12, plus 2 losses to Notre Dame so far. The SEC has slipped from its usually lofty status down to number 3. On the bright side, the SEC has been the only conference to hold a winning record versus the Pacific 12 at this point of the season. The Big 10 has looked very impressive so far. What has kept the conference from being ranked number 1? Losing the trio of matchups against the Pacific 12 accounts for its second-place status. Apparently, the squabbling members of the Pacific 12 put aside their differences and decided to close out the conference with a bang. Maybe the conference might manage to have one of its members in the college football playoff for the first time since 2016. Well, that's the rankings so far this season as of the end of September. Of course, these rankings are subject to change based on results of later interconference matchups. Check back at the end of October to see if there are any shifts in the rankings.